Hello everyone! Welcome to our special event, Story Before Sleep for this year book week. Do you know what is our theme for this year book week? Yes, flat. What is that? Finding lots of adventure through reading. Now, tonight, I'm going to take you to a very wonderful adventure through this book. Okay, are you ready to listen? This book's title is Hot Air Henry by Mary Calhoun, illustrated by Eric Ingraham. Okay, it's quite thick book, so ready to listen? Yeah? Okay. Henry wanted to fly. Everybody in his family has gone up with the balloon, but the man always declared, "I'm not flying with that cat." The man have been taking pilot's lessons, and this time he was going to a solo. Henry grumbled and his tail twitched as he watched the people crunch around on the crusty March snow. So it's snowing. The kid and the woman held open the mouth of the colorful balloon, while the man blew it up with a gasoline-powered fan. Then the instructor blasted warm air into the balloon. So it's the hot air balloon, yeah? From the burner mounted on the frame below it. "Watch your fuel gauge," he told the man. "You don't want those propane tanks to run dry. And stay away from those power lines on Colston Hill." At last, the beautiful balloon stood fat in the air. The woman and the instructor loaded the fan into the truck. The kid held down the basket while the man jumped out to get his camera, which he'd forgotten. Henry saw his chance to stow away, and he raced across the snow and leaped into the basket. One of his claws snagged on the cord that fired the burner. There was a horrible roar. "Grab that cat!" yelled the man. The kid lunged for Henry and slipped on the snow, and the burner kept roaring. The flames heated up the air, and up rose the balloon. Rose Henry, up, up, and away. Henry was flying. He shook his claw loose from the cord, and the burner stopped roaring. But the balloon kept on lifting. Henry crouched on the leather rim of the basket, digging in his claw. Below, the ground fell away, and the people shouted and waved. Yet the basket didn't feel as if it were moving, and Henry wasn't afraid. "Meow," he called down to the kid. He was Hot Air Henry the Flying Cat. The balloon surged up the sky. Looking down, Henry saw the river, like a black ribbon winding between white fields. The kid and the man looked small as cats, and Henry loved the glorious bubble that carried him across the sky. Balanced against a post on the rim of the basket, Henry floated above his snowy world. To a tune of the kids about sailing, sailing over the bounding main, Henry sang. Meow, 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 meow. He was the cat to sail the skies. But now he had his flight, and it was the man's turn to solo. Time to go down? How? Henry stood up and tried to pull the cord. The whooping roar of the burner scared him, and he tottered on the edge of the basket. To keep from falling, he clung to the cord, and the burner kept roaring, and the balloon rose higher. That was not the way to get down out of the sky. So Henry hopped to the basket floor and searched for something to push or pull that meant down. Nothing. So standing on his hind leg, he peered over the edge of the basket. He couldn't see his people anymore, and the balloon was sailing toward the mountains. Where was Colton's Hill with those power lines? Henry glared up to the bright cave of the balloon. Come down now, he yelled. Then he saw a cord leading down from the balloon. He could reach it from the rim of the basket. When he clawed the cord, he saw a little hole. A little hole of the sky opened in the balloon's cloth. As air spilled out, the balloon began to sink. Faster, faster, the basket dropped toward the ground so fast. Henry let go of the cord. More slowly, basket sank toward the river. Black rushing water splashed down. No! The basket crunched on the snowy bank. Ha! Breathed Henry. But the basket bounced up in the air again, touched and bounced over the snow. Stop it! Henry yelled to the balloon. I'm not a yo-yo. Ahead there were some willows dotted with blackbirds singing "Akali." The basket bounded over the top of the trees, brushing out birds. The red wings swarmed around the basket. Henry snatched at that bird. Missed that one. The bird whisked upward, hissing, "Akali, you cannot catch me." Henry forgot about landing. I can too, he yelled. Standing on the rim, he pulled the burner cord. Roar! The basket zoomed after the bird. Meow, meow! Henry chased the blackbird up to the sky. But the balloon overshot the birds, and they settled back down in the willow. The balloon sailed towards the mountains, the wrong direction, away from the man and the kid. Go back! Yelled Henry at the beautiful bubble. But the balloon went where the wind took it. Below, a lazy eagle coasted on an air current, flowing in the right direction. Maybe if the balloon dropped just to that level. So Henry crept around the rim of the basket and pulled the air-spilling cord. Slowly the balloon sank, and began to come around. It didn't take off after the eagle, like the tail of a kite, but it was going more toward the kid than away. Meow, meow, Henry sang out. It showed that Balloon who was the boss. He, hot air Henry, would bring the balloon right back where it started. So he towed his way along the rim and pulled the burner cord just a flick to keep the balloon from dropping too low too soon. At the roar of the burner, the eagle flapped in surprise. "Ooh, what in the sky?" screeched the eagle. The big bird circled the fat contraption. Henry watched anxiously. That eagle better not peck a hole in his balloon. "Shah!" Henry hissed. "Scat! Get away from here!" He made the burner roar. "Help!" squealed the eagle. What a cat to roar like that! The eagle winked away from the fearsome feline. Henry sparred a paw to smooth his whisker, then he peered down, narrowing his blue eyes at the brightness of the snow. Below on the road was a truck, and the kid's head stuck out of the window. The chase truck was following the balloon. "Meow, meow, right now," sang Henry. He got over to the ripcord, spilled air, and the balloon dropped. Just then, honk, honk, came a squadron of geese flying straight at him. "Honk," called the geese. "Honk, honk." What did they mean? Honk! He would not get out of the way. The feet of the geese broke up around the balloon, and they rushed up and down, squawking. But the head of the goose sat down here on the edge of the basket by the burner cord. "Shah!" hissed Henry. "Get out of my basket! You can't perch here." "Honk! I can too," said the head goose, perching there. The balloon kept sinking. "Hey, cat!" The kid's shout made Henry look. The basket was headed for some high-strung power lines. At last, he'd found Colston Hill. He had to fire the burner to lift quickly, or he would sizzle on the wire. But the goose actually guarded the burner cord. This goose. Henry started toward the goose. "Ska! Hish!" answered the goose, hunching its wing. Henry had never fought a goose, and he didn't like to try for the first time while balancing like a tightrope walker, but he had to fire the burner. Henry sprang over the goose's head. He leaped onto the goose's back and clawed at the cord. As Henry flew over, a sharp tip of beak on his tail made him yawn. But when the burner boomed, the goose jumped into the air, and Henry fell off its back onto the basket, which soared up the power lines. Henry licked his throwing tail, while the geese regrouped and flew on. Honk, honk. Then Henry pulled the ripcord to bring the basket down. The kid and the man jumped out of the truck. The basket bounced one over the snow toward them. As Henry hung on the air-spilling cord, the man grabbed the drag line and then the basket. Phew! Henry dropped against a post. The man might be mad at him, for going off with the balloon. Henry leaned his head on the man's chest. He begged pardon for swallowing sooner than the man. "Wow, some high-flying cat," said the kid, punching down the balloon cloth. Said Henry, smoothing the man's chest. "Wise old flying cat." Wow, what an adventure this cat had with the hot air balloon. So I have a question. There is only one name mentioned here. It's Henry, right? So I wonder, from whose point of view this book is written? You can answer tomorrow. Come see me and answer my question. Okay, have a good sleep, everyone. Bye.